Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Cycle, Finding Financial Freedom, episode 6, I think. It's been a crazy week in crypto. I am joined, as always, by my faithful co-host, Endless Grind, and
Hello.
Beardy Maxi is replacing Beardy this week. So this is actually Beardy's third cousin on his grandmother's side. So
Hello, I'm a Maxi.
yeah. All right. So let's just go ahead and jump right in because we've got some spicy stuff to cover today, guys.
Indeed.
So
Boys.
question week number one we got is the SEC versus the Binance and SEC versus Coinbase. Who is in a better position to win? And for that culture war as well, who do you think is in a better position to win?
Yeah, I'll jump in first on this one. Uh, so yeah, I think we were talking offline before this, and I think that there's pros and cons to each situation. Uh, the long and short of it is that I think that Coinbase, personally, I think that Coinbase has a better chance to win. Um, like you were kind of mentioning, Joe, offline. Brian Armstrong is a better like CEO in terms of like his demeanor and his ability to speak and uh, hopefully like rally some people behind him in like Washington and other circles to fight the SEC.
I,
Um, I,
it's
yeah,
not that I think that he's I think, and I'm not trying to take anything away from CZ when I said that, but I think he is the more articulate, and I think that he is the one who I think CZ just doesn't care enough. He's just like, I'll go send my lawyers and I'll have them deal with it. Where Brian is like very CZ is very passionate about it, but
right.
I think that I think he's just above the politics and above the petty whatever, and he's just kind of transcended because they do have such a bigger market share.
Right. Yeah. Like I guess I would put it this way. I feel like CZ likes to troll people and be a little, he plays with his food. And I think Brian Armstrong is a little bit more professional and, doesn't try to take those like quick jabs. He's, because he knows that the image is important and he's American, versus like a foreigner and all that jazz. Um, so the fact that Coinbase is also public, went public, and that was approved by the SEC, I think that that's a feather in their cap, so to speak. But the downsides is that they did go and list projects on uh, their own system of like evaluating things against the Howey test, and basically the SEC's saying that like it doesn't matter that you and a bunch of other people in the space like tried to like come up with a criteria for this, because even when you did come up with that criteria, sometimes you would list things that were high risk anyways. So I think they're kind of looking at it like you've made some mistakes as well, and as with most things in life, it's not black and white, it's usually gray. So I think that there's going to be points on both sides that are going to be valid, and it's just going to be a matter of a judge determining, who misstepped more than the other person. And I would hope that a judge would, look at the situation and say, SEC, this is your job to be like informing them of this information and helping them with this process. And it seems like you put up a lot of roadblocks. Why is that? That's what I'm hoping is kind of comes from that angle. And then in terms of Binance versus the SEC, Binance US is a very small arm of Binance. So, this isn't a threat to Binance in any way, shape, or form. I just saw Beardy's change his name. Uh, but if the conflict of interest allegations are true, that that's going to be something that can kind of be help out Binance in this situation. But yeah, those are my general thoughts on it. But what I really want people to know is that just like the Ripple lawsuit, this is going to take years to play out. A lot of money is going to be put into this, a lot of fighting, a lot of delaying, and all that stuff. So, like this week with the capitulation and everything stemming from it, this is all emotion, guys. Like people are allowed to make accusations. They're allowed to make lawsuits, but those lawsuits and accusations are not final. Hasn't been signed into law. Congress could come in here and interrupt this entire thing by changing laws, and if those laws change, then the lawsuits would be frivolous. So I mean, there's so many things that can happen, and especially when we're entering into the 2024 presidential election, and cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is on the docket. I think that there's a lot that can happen. So people reacting and like this and dumping all their tokens that were named in these lawsuits, it doesn't mean anything. The SEC didn't go after these projects specifically. They just went after these exchanges. And if at the end, I think at the end of the day, fines are going to be paid and everything's going to go back to normal. So anybody who sold their coins this weekend, you got flushed out because you got emotional.
And I thank you for doing it because I bought extremely heavy.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Maddox taking off. I should probably actually take some profits on that bad boy after this. But,
yeah, it's up 7.5% right now from yesterday.
I'm still mad at myself for taking profit in Tesla the day before.
Sorry, guys.
I sold at 228.
I had to
wait and see how next week plays out.
For this first segment. I forgot I'm a shitcoiner. It's a Maxi, but I would like to just tail off a grinder. I would like to see more due process. Like to see more due process for Coinbase, because what do we have? We have the SEC commissioner who's corrupt as hell. It's his opinion, It's like, oh, everything's a security, and seeing what sticks is like, okay, well, I don't think that's based in reality. I think, what do they say? I try to hold two opposing views in my head at the same time. It's really hard to do. And then, like Grinder mentioned, there's usually fault on both sides. And we have our bias. Damn Grinder for always bringing psychology into this thing. But, and
Smart
then
guy.
my only other add-on would be, Binance being so huge, with their internationally. I think they'll end up paying a fine, but I would like to see more transparency for, knowing what's under the hood at Binance. Like, but more transparency, like, just to be more comfort for me, knowing they're not coming in the funds, after FTX. I think everybody would like a little more peace of mind.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and that does worry me, because I do think that funds were most likely commingled at some point, and that manipulates trade volumes, and like manipulating the trade volumes manipulates the math behind when we're assessing the metrics on these things in terms of TA. So figuring out what happened with FTX, that really manipulated the last leg of the double top market that we had for the 2021 bull run. So I don't like the idea of metrics being manipulated by the largest crypto exchange company in the world. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. I have a little bit of I don't even know if it's a spicy take. I think it's kind of spicy. I think I think Brian Armstrong is, like I said earlier, the more articulate CEO, and it could just be a language thing. I know CZ speaks English very well, but it could.
Racist. Just preparing you for our left viewers, which they're probably right then.
Oh yeah, right. Probably whatever. They can come at me, bro. I think there's a little bit of but I mean, like, there's that. I don't remember the show, but it's a comedy. I saw a clip from it the other day, and the wife is fluent in Spanish, I think, or something like that, and she's like, do you know how hard it is to think in another language and then have to translate it and still sound smart? And like, and I know CZ speaks English very well and everything, but I think there is something that you lose when you're not speaking your native language. So I think he just doesn't really like, he tries, but he like I said, he's so far above it. He's just like, I don't care about the US. They're where, like we said earlier, there's somewhere under, I think offline we talked about it. There's somewhere under 10% of, the global liquidity.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going to go deal with this corrupt ass, uh, governor of the board, or, whatever Gary's official. I think is he technically a governor, or is he the head?
He's a chair. Get the meme with him as a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the chair. I'm not gonna go deal with this corrupt ass chair who I know is just gonna screw me at every chance. Why? So I think that they're gonna end up paying a fine for something, and then they're just gonna, part of the condition is that they're just gonna withdraw from the US, because at the end of the day, I don't really think he cares that enough to deal with it. Like, he just doesn't even like go out and tweet anything really more. He just puts up a picture, a number, or his 4 fingers. He's like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't care. I've got work to do,
Mm.
And in that regard, I think that Binance is in a better position overall in the crypto market, because they are the largest, the largest exchange.
I
So
thought that's because he's gonna put 4 fingers in his butt. I didn't know what that was. Sorry.
oh, maybe that's what that is. Oh, maybe look
Sorry,
it after.
sorry
Anyway,
to break your train of thought.
Oh no, I thought that was Gary. I thought that was Gary and Sam at the orgies, but I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, so when it comes to the US, I want to share this real quick, and I want to like show some evidence why I think that in the US at least, Coinbase is going to be better off. Here we have Grind's Twitter, everyone. Everyone should go subscribe to
Oh,
Grind. Hey,
look at
buddy.
that guy. Thanks.
Yeah, that guy. Then we have Beardy, the shitcoin's cousin, Beardy Day. He couldn't make it today, but he is also celebrating EOS being down 23% today.
Happy to the moon.
Yeah, EOS to the moon. There's me, guys. Anyways, so this video I did why I use and support Coinbase. It's 11 minutes long if you guys want to go watch it. But he breaks everything down so elegantly. He has the support of Congress. He's already got senators tweeting about Gary being just the monster that he is. And then I'm going to share this video real quick if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I saw this one too.
Yeah. I mean, they tried to meet with him 30 times.
Right. I do think that the Howey test needs to be updated.
For sure, it does, and I think that's what like, and even Brian has said, hey, like, help us help you. Like, tell us what you want. Tell us, let's work together. Let's do this. And Binance has as well. All the exchanges have, but they don't want to play ball. So this video really, I think, breaks everything down in a really good way, of showing that, like, hey, we're doing our part. And then you've already got, on the other hand, or in the other case, you've already had the Congress come out and say, like, hey, you guys need to meet with them. You guys need to fix this. A court came out and said, hey, you guys need to issue some clarity on this. And they defied Congress and the court, saying, like, nah, we're good. We're not going to do this. They're already threatening to yank him back before Congress again, which I think is going to be happening sooner than later. So I think it's just, at this point, he's just blown everything up. And I think that Elizabeth Warren and him have some pact or something going on.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be in lockstep with each other, but I don't know. I think that Binance is just going to say, like, you know what, dealing with this isn't worth it. We're going to go where we know we can. I know that they are, being welcomed in open arms with Hong Kong. Especially a Chinese, the CEO who's Chinese in Hong Kong, of the world's largest crypto exchange. You bet that when that market opens up in Hong Kong, a lot of those people are going to go straight to Binance, just because out of nationalism, and that's another thing, is that Coinbase is, got invited to go to to Hong Kong as well. But what person in Asia is going to pick the American-based company with the sketchy ass regulator who's breathing down their necks, being a general pain in their ass, over the Chinese based and Chinese owned. I don't know if they're, I think CZ is Chinese, I think, right? Is he or Taiwanese? I can't remember. I think he's Chinese.
I think he's Chinese, but I thought he was also Canadian.
Yeah, I think most of his life was in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I didn't know that.
But obviously his ethnicity is Chinese.
For some reason
but
I thought he grew up in China. Maybe I misread. Maybe I read a bad article then, as I was reading that I definitely read a bad article on that. Then, if he is Canadian, then
I don't know when he left, but
right, yeah, I don't know when he left.
Anyways,
yeah,
they have a much larger presence in Asia. There is that kind of, I think, going to be that pull of going towards where the other Asian market, people from the other Asian markets are going, because they're going to be like, hey, you know what, like, we're not going to deal with that stupid US bullshit. We're going to go to the place where they're based. I think they're going to open up something in Hong Kong where they're going to have something local, and they're going to be able to work with regulators, and it's going to be open arms, and it's going to be so much better than the US supposedly. It didn't make sense that they would go with Coinbase. So I think that they're just going to say, hey, Binance is going to say, we're going to pay the fine, we're going to go away and just leave us alone, and we'll go make trillions somewhere else.
Right. All right. Yeah, fair enough.
Like, rambling was over on that one. Let's go to question number 2. Why are Bitcoiners and the rest of crypto arguing with each other?
One second, I gotta change my name for this one.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Alrighty.
Beardy, you kick this one off, buddy. I know you're chomping at the bit on this one.
Spice. It's actually only like Parmesan garlic spice, but still. This is just from my point of view. I don't hope the Maxis don't take me to task for this one, but so I was just thinking from my point of view when I got into Bitcoin, learning about it, about the cypherpunks and the libertarians, the kind of live and let live kind of people. We don't need government to rule over us. More government always leads to, well, look what we have now, all the endless wars, and obviously they're not the best ones to handle our money, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All that. But so then fast forward, we got Dirty Gary Gensler. I'm gonna protect you so hard, Gary Gensler comes to the table, corrupt as can be. I think that's pretty well proven with all his connections, MIT and FTX, SBF, Caroline's dad was his boss and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see if it turns out to be true. His he wanted to work at Binance in 2019 or something. We'll see.
Yep.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's one report out there. And so and then there's all the videos of him, saying, oh, 80% of these aren't a security. And, he flips his tune. Obviously something happened. Anyway.
Right.
Well,
he's cozying up to Warren and other like anti-crypto Democrats that he thinks are going to help him get in to be the Treasury Secretary, it seems.
But I got to call him as I see him.
God help us if that actually happens.
Yeah. That would be a nightmare.
I'll preface it with saying 99% of the garbage listed, I agree, it's crap. But I think the market should do what the market does, and have some reasonable stuff like all the other countries. But that's where the Maxis come in and oh, Gary, good one, Gary. Yeah. You should get those shit coiners. Yeah. It's just the hypocrisy to me is just blinding.
Right.
But I love people on both sides. I think, like I said last time, I'm a mostabilist. I do trade some, for funsies, but all my, Bitcoin's 8,000 pound gorilla in the room, and then everything else, there's going to be some cool use cases and whatnot. Again, trying to hold the two positions in mind at the same time. I just think for the mass adoption, there's going to be people you like, don't like, and then we kind of talked about Nick Carter and Udi, talking about the culture wars versus they call it the laser-eyed toxic maxis or whatever. But I think Grinder, you want to talk about some of the psychology of that, or?
Yeah.
Real quick before we hop
Yeah,
into
you
that.
go. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to ask you guys something real quick. I was on Coin Market Cap looking right now. Did you guys notice that Solana is number 10 now and Polygon is number 11 and Litecoin is number 12? Did that change or am I tripping?
I think they're bouncing back and forth around each other for the past couple of months. But yes, I see that on the site that I use as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't pay that close attention, other than I did when they were delisted on Robinhood that Matic, Ada, and Solana all were like step and step with how their drawdown like at the same time.
I just thought it was interesting that Solana, because I didn't know Polygon or Solana slipped Polygon or flip when they did flip it, but if it did recently, that's impressive. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I think it was like a week or so ago that Solana flipped Matic, but then Matic flipped back, and now it's flipped the other way again because Matic dropped down further than Sol yesterday. But yeah, I mean, we're talking 6.2 billion versus 6.1 billion, so they're kind of hovering around each other.
Yep.
There's Nick Carter.
Yeah, so I mean, Nick Carter's been in the space for a really long time, and he, I'm not going to read this whole post or even really like mention like a lot of it. Obviously, it's a very, very long post, and it actually goes into a second one. But I would encourage people to kind of check it out because I think it's good when we look at stuff that challenges our point of view. And there's stuff in here that maxis are going to agree with. There's stuff in here that anti-maxis are going to agree with. And what I said when I like retweeted it was I encourage people to look at this post and consider both sides and consider both perspectives and try to find a middle ground where you're compromising. And I agree with Beardy that, it is hypocritical of like the maxis to say, anti-government, I'm libertarian, let's get it out of here as much as possible. But then when the SEC brings down regulation against altcoins, they're like, oh yeah, let's support
Gary.
Yeah, like let's support the SEC. It's so hypocritical because if you're anti-government, don't support the government in doing something just because it's something that you don't like, because that's essentially what we're up against right now as a crypto or a Bitcoin community. We are trying to fight for financial freedom in a world that is run by, government central banks. And the people who do not understand Bitcoin, they're saying, oh, like, I don't really care, like what certain candidates or what Congress does with Bitcoin and crypto because I'm not in crypto. So, like, that's the thing. It's like you can say, I don't care about something if it doesn't affect you. But then once it starts affecting you, then you care. So I just think it's really hypocritical. But the part that I wanted to bring up about like human psychology is that when I go through sessions with couples and talking about communication skills and whatnot, we go through what are the unhealthy communication styles and the healthy communication styles. The unhealthy communication styles are passive aggressive, and aggressive communication. The only healthy communication style is assertive communication. And in assertive communication, one of the biggest things that you need to do is listen to the other person's side and actually listen, not just sit there and like, formulate your argument in your head and yell back at them afterwards, but then articulate your point of view, listen to their point of view. And in most situations, a couple needs to come together in a compromise. You're not going to get 100% of what you want every single time. So that's what I think we really need to do here is we need to recognize that there's two sides of this coin, and both sides have valid points. And if we can figure out a compromise in the middle where both sides are not going to get exactly what they want, but we agree to disagree on certain things and we find common ground that we can utilize to move forward, that's what this space needs, and that's what's going to bring in the people who are ignoring the space right now. If people try to enter into this space and see all this infighting and all these arguments and whatnot, it's probably going to push them away. But if they can see a collaborative community that's willing to work together and come up with stuff, they might be drawn to that. Because what is happening in, like, we're in the US, so let's talk about the US. What is happening in the US right now? Over the past 4 to 8 years, we've been divided. We've been pushing people apart. People are going to get sick and tired of that eventually. And so maybe this can be a community where people can start to get some relief from that. But with Maxi's attacking every single crypto, that is not Bitcoin. I don't think it's healthy for the space.
Even the proof of work coins that are basically clones of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
One more thing that just popped in my head is like the Howey test, I think was made even before television was invented. I mean, doesn't that say maybe it's time for an update or something? I don't know.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that.
But
I agree.
Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you said, there's always going to be a side where, or there's always going to be two groups of people that need to come in the meet in the middle, right? Now, like I said, is there, and even you brought up to the point, do I think some 18-year-old kid should be able to go dump his life savings into Doge or something like that? If he gets, some inheritance and goes out and just, like, haha, YOLO, like, I'm going to go do this. I got, kind of a beef with that. But at the same time, like you said, when you get to the age of 21, you can go up to a casino. And even in some states, I think you can actually go to casinos at 18.
Yep, we can hear.
Yeah. And, like, so is there really that much of a difference? No, but I don't think that 18-year-olds should be able to go to, or go do that at casinos either. So I guess that's just kind of mine. So there's got to be somewhere where we meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And everyone just says, like, hey, you know what? Like, it's going to suck, but you're going to have to be an adult and accept that, both sides have some very valid points here. Like Pepe, like, and I am guilty of it. I spent, I think, like $100, and I was like, I'm not going to go out this weekend. Rather than going and drinking and doing stupid stuff, I'm going to sit at home and rewatch Star Wars, and I'll spend my $100 on Pepe and see if I can turn it into a new Xbox. Like that.
Yep.
Like every once in a while, is it kind of fun? Yeah, like, yeah, I guess. But that's
throw a
really
couple percent in the gambling fund. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but that's it. Like, I just threw $100 in and it was done. I was like, well, that sucks. I'm down to like 40 now. It's somewhere where it's right now, like. So I see the point of it on both sides. I think we just all need to come in the center and figure out some way that we can all say this sucks, but it sucks the least amount.
I blew it all at the casino when I was 18, and Gary wasn't there to protect me, and I'm okay with that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we need to protect vulnerable people. We need to protect non-adults from a lot of situations in life, but adults also need to learn to take accountability for their actions. They
absolutely do.
They need to do their research before they do something, and then they have to, when they make a mistake, they have to own that mistake. everybody's always looking to finger point and blame somebody else. And
Yep.
so like this is one of the biggest things that like I work on with clients is like people come in and they deflect and they project their anger or their frustrations or sadness onto other situations. And these other situations in a majority of the time they can't control them. So it's like imagine how frustrating it is to like have a feeling that you don't want inside you. You project it onto something else that you cannot control or change. What we have to do is accept that what was my role in actions in something and take that ownership for that and learn from those mistakes and gain acceptance of that situation. And then
No.
maybe in
Yep.
the future you're not going to do that again. You know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There, you need everyone. This generation of everyone getting participation trophies and getting told, like everyone should win. Everyone's always gonna, be okay. It's caught a lot of people. I think. You're
It's
gonna lose.
fantasy. It's not a reality. This is,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
the world is
absolutely.
not like that.
So
Oh,
maybe there's some way that they come up with something where it's like you have to take a course that's provided by the SEC, and then to teach how to do your research on something. Like maybe they come up with something like that, and maybe like that. What I would probably be okay with, because they're teaching you how to succeed, right? Like if they're giving you the tools to do everything, um, and then they're saying this is how you do it. After that, it's up to you. Go buck wild.
Hmm.
That that's kind of maybe something that they could do. I don't know. I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to that if they did it in the right way where it's not prohibitively not even expensive. Like it's like a $10 course or something like that that covers your putting your name in the registry and proving that you're good to go,
I think
something
Yeah.
like that.
they do that in some places. I'm not
Right.
sure where, but I do have
Yeah.
one more hot take before we move on.
Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead, buddy. I love your hot takes.
I don't think we're spicy enough. If a 7-year-old can choose their gender, I can buy the Pepe. Okay.
I mean,
That's,
yeah,
that's
if
all I got.
that's their argument, then I mean, I can see where you're coming from on that. You're not wrong.
I don't want the Pepe. Just saying.
Right.
You don't want the pepe with the croissant.
Oh, I forgot I made that. I should have played that Gary Gensler. I spoofed.
Oh, say less,
uh,
buddy.
I've got one other thing too that I wanted to say, which was that, Bitcoin is a permissionless blockchain. And the permissionless part is part of what makes it so great. And Maxis love that and promote that for a lot of reasons. But then the second that people start using Bitcoin for other things aside from like currency or a store of value, they get up in arms. And I understand the concerns that they're bringing up. Is this diluting the blockchain? Is it making it unmanageable in some situations and
You
blah, 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 blah.
talking about ordinals and stuff? Or
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But like, but this is the whole point. The whole point is that if somebody wants to create that and there's a demand for it, that it can't be censored. So, like, I understand people getting upset about things that maybe they don't agree with, but you have to honor and respect the protocol for what it is. And this is how it was always supposed to be. It was always supposed to be um, where no one entity can make a decision about this type of stuff. So, yeah, I think that we need to let the space, let it run exactly as a libertarian would say. Let the free market run itself, and if there's demand for it, it'll grow. If a problem presents itself, a solution like Bitcoin Lightning Network will present itself. So we're going to work our way through all these problems as we continue to get out of our infancy here.
well said, Grinder.
Thank you, Beardy. And Joe's back.
I am. Here's Beardy's video.
Oh,
Dirty Harry. Well, I'm Dirty Gary. Dirty Gary Gensler. And I'm going to protect you so hard.
okay.
So,
That's disturbing. Turn it off. Turn it off.
Anyway,
That's bringing me back to the days that I was trapped in Beardy's trunk.
Those were the best days of your life.
All right, let's move on to the last question here.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Real quick, I was picking on the maxis. I better pick on the other side.
Yes, probably should do that.
Bitcoin's most decentralized. I think we'd all agree. But I'm not going to say all centralization is bad. Like, if I run my household and I make decisions, there's going to be some form of centralization, technically. So I was like, because the others aren't less centralized, I don't think they're innately makes them bad. That's the only thing.
Mhm.
That's all I got to say about that.
Oh,
Now I better.
I would like everyone to note Grinder's wonderful meme here.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Also, I would like to remind everyone that Gary is the actual real life version of Peter Pettigrew. So
Grinder.
I could see that.
Grinder, that's a bad meme. I don't see any difference in those two photos.
they're the exact same. And also, I would like to remind everyone that he does have little weird rat hands. So
there's that. Yeah.
just gonna say that. Anyways,
what's the
next
last one?
question.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
this is
next
the last
question.
one.
Okay. Final thoughts and any random questions to be had. Do you
No,
guys
we're
have-
on Gary
Oh.
Gensler going after the tokens.
Oh, yep, my bad. Sorry. My bad. I thought we already covered that. So do you guys think it is a coincidence that Gary Gensler and the SEC targeted the same coins that China is going to start allowing?
And then I have the article on my shared screen. Yeah, here we go.
I'm going to let Grinder take that one. I don't know a whole lot about that one.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. But I don't really I don't read things by Daily Coin on a regular basis or whatever, but I just liked the fact that it had the list of the tokens that are expected to be tradable by retail trading in Hong Kong, and a tweet that backs that up as well. But so these are the ones that we want to talk about. So the tokens that are going to be listed in Hong Kong are supposedly Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Polkadot, Bitcoin Cash, Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, Polygon, and Chainlink. Of those, I believe Polkadot, Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, Polygon have been listed in some lawsuit or other by
Chainlink as well.
And Chainlink, okay, yeah,
Yep.
have been listed in some lawsuit or another by the SEC. But again, they're not going after those projects specifically. They're just saying that those are examples of securities that the exchanges that they're going after listed. So do I think that it's a coincidence? Kind of, because I don't take it from the angle of that they're trying to fight China on this specifically. I take it from the angle of they're just listing some of the biggest projects to try to have the biggest impact, or scare the most amount of people or make the most amount of people question things. A lot of these projects that are listed here are also part of investment funds already, from US institutions and stuff like that, the GBT, the Grayscale has a lot of these assets on file, as well as some others and whatnot. So
they're actually starting that Solana trust, and I think Cardano as well. They're doing a spot ETF for those two, I believe.
yeah. So yeah, I think that they're just going after some of the larger ones, to try to dissuade people away from this space, because I really think that that's the ultimate goal. I think that the US regulators and people in charge are just dragging their feet on crypto and trying to push it away and delay it for as long as possible so that they can create their own on ramps with their old institutions, in traditional finance to kind of make a transition here. They're recognizing that this is inevitable, but they're not coming out and saying that because that would, endorse it. But instead, they're going to fight them every single step of the way to try to make it, drag it out as long as possible, so that they can recover from this as uh, easily as possible. So I think that it's almost like if you get listed, if you're a big enough name, like in the top 100, and you get called out by the SEC, I would kind of take it as a compliment, because to me, it's like, well, you're doing something right. They see you as a threat, which means that they believe you're going to stick around. The SEC, yeah, they've gone after some shit coins and meme coins and really random projects that are, out there, but the majority of the time that they're spending and the resources that they're spending are on these larger projects. So if you've got enough attention from the SEC to be listed, that probably means that they see you as a threat, which I believe is a good thing.
So I think that you're kind of right. I do think that they are just going after the biggest of everything. I also think that the fact that they were getting listed by China was just like icing on the cake.
Mm.
I think that there were there's still that the narrative that they're pushing that like China's the bad guy, China's evil, like we're Americans and Chinese are people are bad and you shouldn't like China and they shouldn't like us, and I think it is just stupid.
Yeah.
Like there's some of the most amazing people I've ever met have been from China, and some of the worst human beings I've ever met have been American, and
Mm-hmm.
there's vice versa on either side. I'm sure that some real shitbags in China, but I think that, like I said, I think it was just the fact that they did list it, or they were listing a lot of these coins, like Solana, Matic. I can't see what the other ones are because hold on, let me pull up my Polkadot, Ethereum. They didn't name Ethereum specifically, which I think that they are going to lose the XRP case, so they're not even going to bother trying to label Ethereum. I think they're just going to leave that alone at this point. But like I said, it's just icing on the cake. They want to be able to throw something out there too, another evidence that like, well, if the CCP is allowing it, then like, and don't get me wrong, I'm extremely anti CCP. I think that they're horrible that they've done to people, especially with the COVID lockdowns, is disgusting. But I think that they're just using that as, like I said, I'm icing on the cake, and I've said that like 5 times now, so I'm going to move on.
Yeah, I mean, as human beings, we for human psychology purposes, like we struggle with people who have like very different or like opposing views of us. And like one thing that I would encourage people to like kind of understand is that like an American culture is an individualistic culture where we push be the best, be number one, compete with others, rise above others. But China is traditionally a collectivist culture where they believe in community and like coming together, and like the nail that stands up gets hammered down, that type of thing. So everybody's supposed to kind of like come together, and think about everybody else while you're doing something. So these different mindsets that are culturally reinforced and then like perpetuated through media on both sides, over your entire life, in your formative years of your brain development and moral development. That's what creates this divide. That's what makes it so difficult for us to maybe even entertain the idea of understanding what the other person's position is, because we grow up in this. It's just such a big mind shift. But if you're willing to kind of take those walls down and think about it from the other person's perspective, what you'll probably end up finding is that we have more similarities than differences. It's just how we frame these things is very different.
and the way people how they speak, some people aren't as articulate as other people, so they may not be able to get their point across exactly, to where someone is able to understand it. So I think you just, like you said, the world just needs to take a step back, take a deep breath, and accept that we're not always going to accept that we're not always going to get along with each other. We're not going to have the same views. We're not going to have the same beliefs, but that's okay. That's what makes, the civilization great. It's what makes, being a human, you are an individual. You're allowed to have different experiences than other people. There will be a time. I don't think there's been a time yet, but I'm sure at some point there's going to be a time where, one of the three of us disagree on something. And at the end of the day, I know we're all going to laugh about it and just be like, whatever, it is what it is, because we all respect each other and we all, accept the fact that we come from different backgrounds and we have different world views and ideological views, on some things, I'm sure. And that, that's okay because we're still going to be friends. We can still be friends, it's, with different beliefs. And I think that's something that's like you to bring up what we're talking about earlier is over the last couple of years with COVID and everything, and everyone just getting so nasty to each other that, I saw a video the other day and it was, would you be friends with someone of the opposing political view? And a lot of people said no. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why? Like, if you're only listening to if you're only hanging out with people who have the exact same views as you, then you're just in an echo chamber, like there's some people that I hang out with that we have opposite views of everything, like polar opposites. But at the end of the day, we still hug. Like, before they say goodbye, I still give them a hug and say, hey, have a great day. Let me know when you get home safe, like
Right.
that, like that is the beauty of being a human being. You're allowed to have this, whether you believe it's God or, nature, you are gifted with this intelligence, this brain that is able to comprehend so much and to, to do so much. And if you're not willing to use it, I think you're just kind of wasting your life. If you're not willing to listen to someone else and hear someone's side of their side of the opinion or their view or whatever it is, like you're just wasting your life.
Yeah. Well said, Joe.
Zabirdi, do you have anything, Bubba?
I will remain neutral on no opinion on this one, sir.
All right.
Touche, sir. Touche. All right. So now we're going to bring up final random thoughts, guys.
Did you have anything, Beardy?
Just want to say I love you all, and can't we all just get along?
I love you too, buddy.
Yeah, love you guys.
Yeah, it's unfortunate about the political capture, like Joe was talking about, like 8 billion people in the world. How can you boil yourself down to one of two parties? But
right,
that's unfortunate.
Side note: if you guys don't follow Farzad Masabi, the guy from does Tesla stuff, he just posted a wild video of a guy who is a weed thing in each nose for like a bowl in each nose, and then he shotgunned a beer while he's doing it.
I saw that.
R.I.P. to that guy.
Well, I do have some breaking news that's relevant.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
From segment number 2, just saw a tweet. The Uber Bitcoin maxis we're talking about, the hypocritical ones, they're even now turning on Swan Bitcoin, which is an Bitcoin only company. So it's like kind of reminds me of the political left, where there's basically two parties: the people with reasonable and then the radical left. Like it'll just never be good enough for them. Like you'll never be Maxi enough, if you own a chair or whatever. But
I feel like Swan Bitcoin is full of maxis. So what is their argument? What are they saying that Swan has done that's bad?
They had Prime Trust, and I don't know why that's bad, but
I
don't know.
We'll have to look in more to that.
We'll have to dig into that.
Yeah. I didn't have any like specific questions or anything else that I wanted to discuss, but I would be willing to go over some TA stuff to maybe pay attention to for the weekly closes right here. coming
I
up in the next 5 hours?
would love that. I would actually very much like to see what you got for TA for charts, especially for
Yahoo! Let's see it.
because
All right.
I'm a Solana.
All right, cool. So, so starting with Bitcoin, the most important thing that I want to point out is that right now Bitcoin is testing its bull market support band. It is in the middle of the bull market support band. So earlier today, as in typical Sunday early fashion, we were at our lows underneath the bull market support band, but we're starting to get a push up, and I would imagine that the last 4 hour candle, so 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, coming up in about 42 minutes here. That's going to be when we're going to see the most price action. And I'm hoping that the bulls are going to come out and at least keep us above where we are right now, which is 25.8. I'm hoping that we can also surpass the top of the bull market support band, which would be about 26.40. But even better would be if we could get back above the 200-week SMA, which is currently at about $26,340. So the line in the sand is the bottom of the bull market support band, that 25.8. I would really like to see us be entirely above the bull market support band, but hopefully we can at least hold that. And I think, and again, this last 4 hour candle coming out here is going to be the decision maker for that. Now, even if we do close below it, we still have a week to try to get back up above it, and it could just be like a little blip on the radar. So don't panic if we close below it, but if we do close below it, that'll be the first time that we close below it since we passed it back at the beginning of the year. So that's a pretty big. That's going to be like a pretty big move. So we want to pay attention to that. With all the capitulation that happened over the past couple of days, you can see this is the Bitcoin dominance chart, including stable coins. You can see that we finally were able to break out past the 49% level. So if we can hold this on the weekly close as well, that could definitely bode well for next week, potentially starting to like push off of that and make some of the moves that Ben from Into the Cryptoverse talks about a lot. So that's going to be good to pay attention to. Going to Ethereum is still looking very strong, relatively speaking, when you're looking at everything else. Its capitulation candle was nothing compared to all the other altcoins that we typically follow and track here. Because it's still holding above its bull market support band. Pretty much every other altcoin lost the last moving averages that they had underneath them. So Ethereum is still in this uptrend channel. It's still holding the bull market support band. That bodes very well. So this is the biggest conflict with the Bitcoin dominance, because Ethereum dominance right now is about 20% of the market. So if we really want to see Bitcoin dominance like skyrocket up to like 60%, like Ben from Into the Cryptoverse talks about, we're going to need to see capitulation on Ethereum because it's just such a massive powerhouse. And we haven't seen that yet. It's been doing a fantastic job holding up. So there's that. Real quick, we'll go into some of the other like popular altcoins. Solana, as you can see here, it lost its 200-day SMA earlier in the week, and then it lost horizontal support and came down. It still hasn't touched the November 2022 lows, though. Matic, it also capitulated and came down. It's under all its moving averages. It's under key horizontal support. It's trying to get back above this one. It should be able to hold that because it's outside of the Bollinger Band. I would like to hope that it could show strength in that way. I would also recommend that people look at all my charts from last night, as well as the ones coming up today. But last night I kind of covered all the capitulation candles and talked about a lot of the volume wicks here, I'm sorry, the wicks on the bottom of the candles and the volume that came in for different assets. And for a lot of assets yesterday, we saw the largest volume since like mid-March, mid-February, early January, which is saying something, especially when you get that type of trade volume on a Saturday, which is usually the day that I send out my, like Saturday, it's dead. Saturday, there's no movement in the market type of thing. So this was definitely a huge emotional capitulation by people because of the SEC. Here's ADA. Look at that. I mean, that's huge, massive wick, and massive volume coming in here. So these are some important things to kind of like keep an eye on when we're talking about this stuff. But like also like let's look at memes. Here's Dogecoin. It's still in its downtrend as we always expected. Here's Shiba finally putting in a new low. Look, guys, I've been saying this is why we don't invest in crap. This is what I've been saying since May 2022 after like the Luna collapse. This isn't coming back, guys. This is, this is going to put in new lows because the tokenomics are garbage. The tokenomics are so bad. It's just bots trading moving averages to scrape money off of you. And rinse and repeat. And this is, I don't know if it's going to be a relic of the last cycle because of like how much promotion it got and how it's known now, kind of like how Dogecoin was known after the 2013 2014 stuff on it. But remember, like I took that bet because I didn't put any money into it and I just mined it with electricity cost, and that was one of like 50 to 100 tokens. We're talking over 22,000 tokens now, guys. So I wouldn't be taking that same bet 7 years later where the space is so much larger. But yeah, I mean, people were saying, oh no, it's not going to put in a new low, it looks like it's consolidating, blah 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 blah. Well, here you go, there's your new low, and that's the most volume that you've had in a long time, and it's capitulation volume. And yeah, so I just thought I would point out a couple of those things. Let's see, anything that you guys wanted me to specifically look at.
Can you actually pull up the? Well, it's actually when you're done. I'll have you actually. Never mind. When you're done.
Okay.
Pepe.
Yeah. Pepe put in a new low as well.
Oh, that's a beautiful chart.
What about Bencoin?
What I pointed out about Pepe last night is that, look, the RSI has never been able to get out of the oversold territory. That just shows you how much dumpage is happening. It can't even break into a normal range. I don't have Ben.
Not much bounce to that Pepe.
I guess we'll go with this.
I don't even know if it's even doing like even what it's I expect what it expected it to look like. So yeah.
I got more breaking news now. I'm like turning into Dennis Porter here.
Breaking news.
Now they're going after James on Invest Answers.
Huh?
For what? For
they're just calling him a shitcoiner, a crypto influencer.
Who is?
And Mike Alfred's dogging him too. That's a bummer.
I think Mike Alfred's always been attacking him.
Oh, has he?
Wait,
for a while.
Who's attacking
He's
Invest
buddies
Answers?
with old clips on Twitter. I'll send you.
Oh, I thought you meant like the SEC or someone. I was like,
no,
wait,
what?
what?
No.
Just trolls on Twitter.
Oh, it's just Twitter drama. Yeah, okay, whatever. Never mind. I don't care about
Maxi
that.
Trolls.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So hopefully, and I guess the other thing I wanted to mention too is that like the summer is typically a very slow time for crypto, and we are about getting into June here. I wouldn't expect really much to happen and not really much to show strength in June and July and August. And then September is historically the worst month every single year. So I don't really expect things to start showing strength again until October. that could be two different ways. It could be exactly the same as like 2019, where we fall under the bull market support band, spend some time under there, and then get back above it towards the end of the year and start this bull run going into the halving. Or we could hold the line like in 2015 and stay above the bull market support band, but just like barely above it or barely above the 200-week SMA, the entire summer into, some final capitulation in September and then move back up. But either way, I don't think that this is going to be the year that is going to excite a lot of people or bring a lot of people into the space. I think that that's going to start happening next year.
What's the saying? Sell in May and be gay.
Sell in May and go away.
Oh yeah, that's it. I always get that one wrong. Oh, we made it an hour.
We made it to an hour. So that's
Yeah.
probably a good place to stop, unless you had something else you wanted to go through, Joe.
Actually, yeah, just real quick. Can you do me a favor and pull up your Bitcoin chart?
Yes, that is this one,
Oh,
sir.
is it already?
Yeah.
Perfect. Can you show for like the time frame? Can you go to like a week?
Yeah, weekly view.
Yes, please.
And
So,
how much do you want to see?
just go back to like where it dumped, down to like the 25 level, or I don't, just from
Okay, yeah.
where, like, yeah. So, I guess my thing is there's a reason we created the show. There's finding financial freedom. And we kind of had touched, you had very actually touched on this very specifically, is people's emotions and being emotional. Um, I guess we'll remind everyone that when there's blood in the streets, that's when you should be buying, or at least that's my philosophy. It's not, and I stole that from the Rothschild. Everyone, not anything specifically, but when it dipped down to 25,000, I was hoping it would go down further, that people would be even stupider and keep, keep selling out of, just not, I don't even want to say ignorance, but like they were using their emotions and not thinking. And I was like, I will take whatever chance I get to be able to buy this as cheap as I can. So if you guys are going to do it, go ahead and I'll buy it from you, at a lower price.
Right.
And
Never
then
make
when
a
it
decision
gets, I'm sorry, go ahead, Beardy.
Never make your decisions when you're fearful.
Exactly. So I would just remind everyone that the dips and like the extreme fear, I don't even know what we're at for the fear and greed index, if you could pull that up, if you don't mind, Grind. But if you want to be buying in a time when people are fearful, that's when the millionaires are made, in the bear market, not in the bull market. So, and just remember that, guys, that don't sell into fear. Don't be that person who doesn't think logically. I forgot. Oh, I forgot you have into the premium.
Into the premium.
I'm Ben with Into the Cryptoverse. Beardy was the only person who voted on my poll the other day, but I appreciated you voting
I
on
won
that.
the poll. I won the poll.
You did.
What did I vote for?
The poll was what would happen first, XRP winning the lawsuit or Ben buying altcoins.
Which one did I say? XRP?
Yeah, you said XRP. Anyways, if it's the fear and greed index, guys, just always remember that if people are panic selling for illogical reasons, that you should probably be buying at that point. At least that's what the way I look at it. People were being, don't sell to make someone, don't lose money to make someone else money, a couple months down the road.
Markets are the only place, like obviously we believe in Bitcoin. It's not going to zero. It's the only place where things go on a discount and then you don't want to buy. Like everybody want to go to the store, they want low price as possible, but Bitcoin goes on sale and they say, oh no, it must be going to zero.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess that was my only.
I'm looking for it. I just can't remember where it is.
Oh, you're good.
He's got too much premium content there.
He does.
Oh yeah. There it is. It's under other.
Other.
I just pulled it up. I think it's sitting right
So
now.
right now it's neutral at 47.
Okay. So, like it's just like I said, guys, don't be that person who loses money to buy it back at the top. Don't be that person. We don't want any one of our members of our community to be that people, because we do want everyone to break the cycle, right? Like we want everyone to have financial freedom. And ooh, there's Beardy. So sexy.
I couldn't deprive the world of my handsome face.
Ooh, so handsome. Anyways, that was really it. If you guys want to go back, I think the first video I did was actually, let me pull up my YouTube channel real quick.
But yeah, you are absolutely right, Joe. Like, and that's what I did on the FTX collapse. That was the day that I bought. I put a lot in, and it's still up. It's still up by a lot, guys. It's still up more than if I put it in the S&P, more if I put it in the NASDAQ, more if I put it in gold. The list goes on and on and on. We chose the best asset of 2023 so far. All right. So, look at the similarities. You have a breakout of a major resistance line, a breakout of a major resistance line, and then you have a back test of it. And then you have a back test of it. As long as we hold here, maybe we could potentially get some momentum. But again, I'm not really, this year's not really that important. Next year is where all the action's going to be at.
Joe puts the ass in assets.
I have been doing leg day actually pretty hard. So, I do have that going for me at least. And then I just want to pull up this real quick. I don't actually real quick. Can you go to like the 6 month or whatever, like a long time frame chart, so we can see like the actual big dip, or like when it dipped down to like the 18 or whatever, I just want to point something out real quick.
This would be November of 2022.
Okay, so when we went down to that 18 level, guys, you see it right there, right? We were all sitting there being like, man, if we could just get down, or even to the 15,000, especially even further back, if you look at that, and we were thinking, man, if we could get to 20 grand, that would just be, man, I wish. Then we got up to 30 and we're like, man, if we could just get to 40. And then we dropped down to what we're at now, 26, 25, bouncing in that range.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I remember not too long ago, I was thinking like, you know what? I am getting very uncomfortable seeing this sitting at like $15,000. This kind of sucks. Like it just sitting there. I would really be comfortable if it moved up a little bit. And then it did. And I was like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
It's above where I bought in for a pretty decent chunk. I'm still technically in profit. I'm not even worrying about it at this point. You know what I mean? Like we get to the point where we're like, man, it dropped down to 25. Like that's way too low. Like, yeah, but less than a year ago it was 15.
Right.
Like we're 10 grand up from where we were there. Calm down.
Exactly. And just to kind of bring this out, if we go back on the monthly view all the way back to 2015 here, look at the RSI. Sorry, all the garbage comes back in. I forgot about that. But
whatever. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like what I'm trying to show is that the RSI on the FTX dip, that was the lowest RSI that we've ever had on the monthly view before.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we're bouncing from these levels and we're coming back up,
Beardy.
it's looking good to me. Everything's on schedule. Schedule.
People want to be emotional and they're going to be irrational, and we don't want that for our community. We want you guys to try and and we are, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone, when we are just three dudes on the internet who are a bunch of dum-dums, like like we are just doing our best to try and figure it out, and we collectively do this, and because we enjoy doing it together. if you guys think we're idiots, there's probably a strong chance you may be right. But we like to think that we're pretty logical guys and we understand, where this is going, and we don't let emotions break into our thinking on this, because at the end of the day, like if you when we were up at that very top, when we were at that 60 something thousand and life was good and it was all lemonade and vodka drinks and on the boat in Miami or whatever, people are living their best lives, and then it crashed down and that was horrible and it was gonna die and everything was horrible again, and then it jumped back up to whatever it did, or it dipped down, but then it came back to 25-30,000 and people were like, woohoo, yay, we're going again. Guys, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. Relax.
It's almost like it goes in cycles.
Almost.
I did actually want to share one thing real quick. I'm gonna kick you off, buddy.
Yeah, no worries.
Get out of there, Grinder.
I'm done anyway, so.
I did this video. Oh no, prices are crashing. Yawn, the power of DCA. And I think that's really what like the kind of shows our mindsets on this, right? Like, cool, or at least my mind, my headspace on this is like, it dropped down. Cool, I know where it's gonna go in a year and a half, so I will take the discount. Sure,
right.
And shout out to TND Tesla. We love you. You're amazing.
Yes, indeed.
You gotta like your own post. That gives you another like.
Oh,
I think that's the reason why you get banned by people or blocked by people.
Drives people nuts.
I think that's the reason. People think you're a bot because you do that sometimes. I think.
Well, I guess I'm glad that I haven't liked my own. I've been narcissistic enough to think that I should like my own content, I guess.
It's a good psychology case study. Drives people nuts, and I actually don't use it as a like button. I use it just as like to say I acknowledge something. But
right, yeah, like you're checking it off. Yeah.
People go wild, and then that made it even more enticing.
Anyway, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, another great discussion. Good week to have a talk. And next week we've got CPI prints coming in. We've got the Fed meeting coming in. Are they going to hike? Are they not? It looks like we're going to have some good topics to talk about next week.
Protect me harder, Gary.
Yeah, Gary and JP are really doing a great job protecting us, and they transitory.
Thank you for your protection.
I wonder if we should get the anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and not say that thought out loud. Thank you guys so much for coming back for another episode.
End it, Joe. End it.
Yeah.
Before I start talking out loud, my inside, my inside voice thoughts. Breaking the Cycle, guys. Episode 6. Thank you so much for coming. We love you all, and we really appreciate all the support and the comments and everything we get from you guys. So always remember, this is not financial advice. This is just 3 dudes that are friends on the internet and who get on a space and talk to you guys and hope that you guys find some value in this. So just do your thing, do your research, go outside, touch some grass. I think Father's Day is coming up here pretty quick, so
soon.
I don't really have to worry about that since my father passed away a couple years ago. So
sorry to hear that, Joe.
No, it's all good. Life happens, and we all got to go at some point. And I'm very blessed to have had so many great years with an amazing father. So I celebrate his life on Father's Day.
Nice.
So so I just remember, guys, to make sure you call your loved ones, your parents, and tell them you love them, because they're not going to be around forever. So, and that being said, anything else you guys got?
All good. We appreciate you guys. Everybody watching, feel free to ask questions on Twitter or YouTube, and maybe we'll even have another community poll soon, and your question might be in one of our next episodes. So feel free to engage.
We do love when you guys comment on stuff. We actually have a group chat and we talk about your guys' comments, and if you guys raise points, we actually do talk about it in the comment section or in our private group chat. So thank you guys so much. Gary Gensler, do you have anything that you want to remind us that you're protecting us about?
Just peace and love.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a great one. Get outside.
Take care.